Gary Ballough and Omar Danial have formed one of the most formidable teams in all of offshore in the superboat stock class, Team Black Sand. Let's talk about how you guys got together, because Gary, of course, from South Florida, and you all the way, my friend, from Dubai.
Dubai, yeah, correct. I'm originally from Geneva, Switzerland. I've been in racing boats for 20 years, and through Johnny Tomlinson, Gary and I hooked up, and I want to thank him and take this opportunity to thank him to have introduced me to Gary and got back in racing the X-Cat series and superboat stock with Gary.
Everybody knows about the success that you guys have had, but let's go back. You mentioned 20 years you've been racing. Let's go back to the beginning, and how did it all get started for Omar?
Yeah, I started racing superboats with Richie Powers back in 91 and 92 in the Apache Heritage.
Oh, yeah.
I ran Key West and won it twice back then, and ran the Diet Right Scarab as well, and another series, and won that as well back in 93. And then quit racing for a while and just went into a poker run series for some pleasure boating.
How would you compare the racing back to those real big, heavy offshore V-bottom boats to what you and Gary have now, the ultra-light, Doug Wright, extremely fast boat?
Yeah, right now we're racing a series which is like kart racing. I mean, the boats are light, they're fast. Everything is really nice and tight. I like the way the boats run. They run flat on the water and they turn flat, and it's the closest you're gonna get to car racing.
Now, Gary, nobody has more wins in this class than you do, my friend. Let's take you back in time. Let's turn the calendar pages back, and how did you get started in offshore boat racing?
I watched offshore boat racing for a couple of years and just said I had to do that. And so we got a boat, put it together, put a team together, and just started racing from there. But after you watch it for a while, and you know, if you love boating and your passion is racing, you typically just end up here.
Give us some information about the first boats you started racing in.
The first race boat that I built was a 28 Seahawk with a pair of 280, or actually at the time they were 260 outboards, very similar to what we're running today. Boats ran about 75 miles an hour, 3-man stand-up bolster, old school, offshore, you know, running 6 foot, 8 foot, just really fantastic racing. You know, and typically it was who could finish to win at that time. These days, you know, all the boats are finishing. You know, technology has brought it a lot further forward, so it's more exciting.
I take it you've always been an outboard man.
Yeah, I kind of like the outboards. It's I'd rather stand up and work on my motor than lean over inside something and hang upside down. I just wasn't made my toolbox doesn't work upside down. Everything falls out of it. So I enjoy the outboards. I do.
We'll start calling you Gary Bridgeport Ballough. How's that?
Not so much.
Now let's talk about Richie Powers. What a legend, an icon in offshore. How did you and Richie hook up?
Well, we met through a mutual friend in the offshore world, and I was really fortunate to fall in Richie as a thrall man back in the days, and I want to salute him, and all my loving memories of our racing days go to him, and you know, hopefully we're creating history here with Gary as well. So hi, Richie.
If my memory serves me correctly, the Apache Heritage was one of the first canopied sit-down Apaches, as opposed to like the big 47s with the stand-up bolsters that Gary mentioned. Is that correct?
That's correct. When we designed the boat, we designed the first sit-down V-bottom with a canopy back then, which was, you know, the first ever built. And from there on, the V-bottom started introducing canopies and sit-downs, and you have it all around the series right now.
You guys were trendsetters. Another boat that reminds me of that Apache Heritage was the NXS boat, which started out as an Apache, then they went to Fountain.
That's right. That's right. They imitated the Apache Heritage with the canopy and the sit-down. A year after they unfortunately lost, or fortunately for us, lost the Worlds.
Speaking of imitation, the most sincere form of flattery, a lot of guys have copied you, Gary, being the most successful guy in your class, and a lot of guys are going for that 32-foot Doug Wright that you've been so successful with.
Yeah, Doug Wright builds an incredible boat, and you know, we never have any structural problems. You know, they last. You know, an old Doug Wright boat is as good as a new Doug Wright boat. And with each boat, he does make safety increments forward. So the newer the boat, you know, yeah, it's going to be a little safer, but he has a fantastic design and makes an incredible boat.
What are some of the innovations that you've done, you know, to your boats? I know one time you even cut the canopy and moved the whole canopy forward to get the center of gravity. I mean, you'll do whatever it takes to be in that winner's circle.
Well, the boat initially was designed for rough water, and where the CG of the boat at the time was perfect. You know, Doug hit that right on the money. But as the races became where they were running flatter and flatter water or closer to the shore for spectators, we had to evolve with that. And we found by moving some weight around that the boat would perform a little better, and which is again the evolution of a Doug Wright. The new ones, things are moved further back in them, you know, which make them perform both in rough water and in flat water.
Is this your first race here in New York, Omar?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's been a dream to race down here. I've never made it down here for, you know, many reasons. So I'm really looking forward to this race, and I think it's just spectacular being in New York with the background that you see, being at this precise moment as well, which is also a historical moment. So I'm looking forward to this race.
Well, let me warn you that this river is not like any other river you'll ever see. This river can get extremely rough. Before the insurance changed on us here at Superboat, you and I went out in one of your catamarans, Gary, I guess about 5 or 6 years ago, and I tell you that this river can beat you to death.
I've heard it's very deceiving. Everybody thinks of a river as being calm, but we know there's a lot of debris. There's wakes from boats that are coming on both sides of the channel there, and you know, it gets pretty tricky, bumpy out there. So you know, we're gonna go out there and run a safe race, and you know, like I say, you always got to finish to win.
If you look up success in Superboat stock, these guys' pictures will be in the dictionary. Gary Ballough, Omar, Danial, guys, Team Black Sand. Best of luck to you here in New York.
Thank you.